Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. I'm at the Greenbrier Resort in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, and this is the home for the Texans for the week. The Texans, like many NFL teams, they make a real commitment to having the ability to train remotely and get out of the heat, have chosen the Greenbrier for the third time in franchise history. They were here previously in the Bill O'Brien era, 2017, 2018. I was here both of those years, and I can tell you it's one of the outstanding football facilities, especially in the East Coast and around the country. So they built this for teams to have a chance to get out of the heat. The Texans, as you guys have heard DeMeco Ryans talk about, were really feeling like they're wilting a little bit down there and wanted to get this ability to concentrate, because it's not just about can you take the heat, it's the concentration factor. They play indoors. NRG Stadium is a dome. Very rarely is the roof open. So I think it's advantageous for the Texans to have this remote training. They also do it for a camaraderie deal. And just like last year when they were in the Pro Football Hall of Fame game, they trained at the University School. Nick Casario's alma mater, went to John Carroll University nearby. And I think when you look at just the opportunity to travel, to get to know each other better as teammates and to bond, and for the coaches to do some teaching when it's not so hot. So those are some of the benefits, and it's a great facility. The players get the best of everything here. I'm inside the Greenbrier, which is an outstanding hotel, 5-star hotel, one of the best hotels in the world. And they have 20 restaurants here. They have a whole bunch of things. So it's a nice place to visit. It is a tough place to get to. So I had sort of a planes, trains, and automobiles day where I had mechanical issues with the flight out of Bush, and that delayed my flight. Then I went to Atlanta, and then Roanoke, Virginia, and then a long drive from Roanoke here to the Greenbrier. But I wanted to talk to you guys before the first practice and kind of go over a few things that are going on with the team after my preamble there. But when talking to C.J. Stroud about the offense and kind of the state of things, one of the things that's jumping out to him is, it's going to take some time. And he acknowledged that there's going to be some chemistry deals that they have to work on, the install, the knowledge of the offense. And right now we're seeing with a new offense, we're seeing not just the factor of playing against a great defense, which obviously does affect things, against playing against what he called the best defensive line in football, and definitely the best defensive end tandem, in my opinion, with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. But Nick Caley is installing this offense. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of knowledge to gain, a lot to absorb. And until they really know it by heart and have all these plays just as memorized as the defense does, which is running the same scheme that they've run now for the third year under Texans coach DeMeco Ryans, the architect of one of the best defenses in the NFL, it's not the same. So it's not exactly a level playing field. You have the overhauled offensive line. They're still finding their way. Speaking of the offensive line, feel like we know what the offensive line is going to look like. And so let's reiterate that. And they acknowledge this, what we've been talking about for a while, where these competitions, or lack thereof, stand. Left tackle is Cam Robinson. Absolutely. Left guard, Laken Tomlinson. Those guys were never really in a competition. It was just a matter of, was Ariante Ursary going to play any left tackle? They've now decided that he's going to play right tackle, and they're going to get him ready to play at the right tackle position. They haven't announced anything. They haven't said anything. But he has been with the ones for a week now, and he has looked much better in camp than Blake Fisher, who had some issues with false starts and has just, not really, I would say, thrived in the offense. Whereas Ursary is physically the most impressive offensive lineman that they've had in several years, other than Laramie Tunsil. So, this guy, maybe he's going to be like a Dwayne Brown kind of player. I don't want to put too much expectations, but I'm obviously enthusiastic about Ariante Ursary and his potential and his attitude, and like everything I'm seeing from Ursary, just an outstanding football player. So they've got that. And then at center, Jake Andrews, he's still facing a little bit of a challenge from Jared Patterson. Patterson is someone that could be heard from at some point in the center competition. But for right now, the leader is Andrews. And right guard, of course, Titus Howard, getting used to his new position. He's also played left guard. He's played everywhere but center. He's played left tackle, right tackle. But I think right guard's a good home for Titus Howard. So, some good things happening with the Texans as far as the defense, including plays from other guys. Seeing Jalen Smith, you had so many conversations with Jalen. Jalen's making plays. It's very hard to throw against, and he is, my money, he's someone that's emerging as potentially the third corner. So we're seeing a lot of opportunity for him as a young corner And then we're also seeing at the nickel spot, Jalen Petrie, no problems after the torn pectoral and the surgery. He is back to jolting people. I thought it was great that Jaden Higgins was able to take a hit from him and jump up. Very toughness factor with him. So yeah, bouncing around a little bit, just kind of some of the thoughts I have right off the top of my head. But yeah, I want to kind of go a little more specific here as we go over the offense. So we'll go back to the offense again. So I think they know who the best 4 receivers are. And we're talking about Nico Collins, of course, the go-to guy, the Pro Bowl wide receiver 1, unquestioned. Then you got Christian Kirk, who they call the slot demon or the slot wizard, slot magician. All I know is he's really good in the slot, and he's building his chemistry, his timing with C.J. Stroud. There have been some really good plays by Kirk, the former Texas A&M Aggies standout. Then Jaden Higgins, aforementioned Higgins, 6'4", fast, can jump. He's not just a deep threat or an intermediate threat. He's also a red zone threat. He can block. He can do a lot of things. He can help this offense. Jalen Noel is an interesting wrinkle because they can have more than one slot on the field at one time. And they did that with New England with first Julian Edelman and with other players. So I look for him to have a role. And I feel good about kick returns and punt returns with Braxton Berrios. He's been the best at that. But I think occasionally we're going to see Jalen Noel get a chance there. So we've gone over the offensive line. What we haven't talked about is tight end. And it was good to talk to Dalton Schultz. First time we talked to him since the playoff loss in Kansas City. He said he didn't feel like he played very well, didn't feel like the team, did what they should. And he's, noted he's never been out of the divisional round. And I think he really took it to heart last season. And he didn't make excuses, didn't say he was hurt, just, didn't feel great about things. But now, when DeMeco Ryan said, I thought he really captured this, they're seeing the old Dalton that we hoped we were getting when he came here from Dallas. So this means that he's meeting expectations, that he's doing well. So is Cade Stover, so is Brevin Jordan. The tight end group is a kind of underrated position group, but I think they have a chance to be good. And I know Nick Caley knows how to use tight ends. He coached Rob Gronkowski, coached Martellus Bennett, coached Tyler Higbee. So he's good at utilizing offensive linemen on a role, but using the tight ends that line up next to them. And I think it's going to be a strength. Medically, go over some of the guys on offense for you. Joe Mixon, still hope that he can play in the first game. He's making progress, I'm told, and just continues to get better. Obviously, the walking boot and the ankle brace, that was a long time ago. That was months ago. So he is making strides. And then, obviously, looking at some of the other injuries on the offense, Trent Brown has been running on the side. He's starting to ramp up to where I think he's close to practicing at some point here during the preseason. It was a bad injury. It was a torn patellar tendon, but he's made a sound recovery. He's worked very hard, and so he's close to getting back out there. And then looking at, another guy, obviously he came off a broken foot last year, but Nick Chubb, seeing, some improvement from him as he kind of continues to put more and more time between him and that injury that he suffered last season. I don't think the knee is an issue. I think that it's just, is he going to get back the twitchiness and explosiveness? We talked about that a lot, but when is that going to come? I like the fullback that they've used, Jakob Johnston. I think that he has a great knowledge of Caley's offense, and he's definitely a tough guy. So I think he adds something. And then looking at Dameon Pierce, still strained quadriceps, but he's running, so he's getting better. He's getting closer. I expect Jared Wayne back, who's actually had a good training camp until straining his hamstring. I expect him back after the Vikings game, so he should be on track to get back out there and start practicing again. And then not too many other injuries on offense. So, and running back, I want to talk about it, and I've talked about him a little bit. But Jahar Jordan, yes, he's made some really good cuts. He's had some good moves. The depth chart's a little tough for him because you've got Woody Marks, you've got a lot of guys, but I think he's played very well. He's had a very good camp, so I'm not surprised by that too. Jahar was good last year, and we'll see what happens with the roster. The numbers game, it can be a little tough, but I think he can, get there. We've talked about Will Anderson, talked about Neil Hunter, but what about the defensive tackles? See a lot of plays by Tim Settle Jr., Mario Edwards, Foley Fadukasi getting closer back. He is running on the side. So another one of the injury updates I wanted to give you. Christian Harris, don't know when they're going to activate him. So he shouldn't say activate him. Let him practice. He is active technically, but he's not practicing because of his calf injury. Right now it's Aziz Al-Shire and Henry To'oTo'o, and the biggest challenger would be EJ Speed. It doesn't look like it's a wide open competition. It looks like it's mostly To'oTo'o. And then in the secondary, all the spots, the 5 starters, that's all decided. And it's a great group. It's arguably the best secondary in football. I don't know if there's a better one than Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Kalen Bullock, Jalen Petrie, and they've got depth. They've got some good players behind them, especially Jalen Smith. Arthur Mollett can play. That's a backup nickel. Now he's out of the red jersey, so he's now full go. So that is behind him. That injury that he had, it was kind of a head injury. I don't think it was a concussion necessarily, but he had something going on with his head. Darrell Taylor has brought some heat off the edge. He's been a very good backup for them. I like what I've seen from Speed when he's gotten snaps. I think he's done very well. And having Sheldon Rankins back, and for him, as he told his story, I knew about that, and that's why I asked him that question about the meningitis, the viral meningitis he had, and the shingles, but to get past that. Don't know when Dino Autry is going to get back. They're mostly thinking about the first game, and he's had some knee issues, so nothing real alarming there, but they're going to slowly ramp him up. Among the other guys that are, backups that are injured, Kurt Heinisch, still dealing with some knee stuff. I heard Derek Barnett is getting close. He's back in the next week or two. And I think with Damon Arnett, there's some rust there, but he's also making some plays. I think that he's looked good. Has he looked good enough to necessarily call him a lock of the roster? No, not necessarily. Tremont Smith has looked very good, but I think Damon is making some progress. And then I'm still seeing some other guys. I've seen some feistiness from Rush East. Rush East doesn't take any guff from anybody. He's definitely a tough guy, and someone that makes plays. So does Miles Bryant. Whenever Miles gets a chance, he gets it done out there. And I've seen Miles heard from on defense as well. And so is Casey Toohill. And Casey, again, someone that's an uphill fight to try to make the team, but looks good out there. Marlon Davidson had some size, and then they had another big guy in Haggai Ndebuse, so that helps to have some guys there. And he's a depth guy. I've talked consistently about Solomon Byrd. I feel like Solomon has done a outstanding job as a backup and add something to the team. He's definitely someone that is going to be heard from. And it's kind of a fight between him and Dylan Horton as they talk about roster spots. So, I think, again, like we talked about with Ursery, he can play right tackle, and he's primarily been a left tackle. But, it's something like he's getting more comfortable. He said it's like riding a bike. So he's definitely getting there. And I recommend my conversation with him. And, we had a good talk. But, it's good to just kind of get to know these guys a little more. We're obviously going to be here providing coverage, and it'll be on KPRC2. I did a Zoom a little bit ago with Randy McElvoy and Adam Wexler. Good conversation there. And then we'll have coverage at www.click2houston.com, and of course here on YouTube. We'll have plenty of videos and lots of conversations with the players and the coaches, and the B-roll from practice. That's what they call it in the TV business. I'm a former newspaper guy, but I learned a few new things, and I got my new mic. This is something I've added, so I'm trying to get a little more high-tech, maybe get with the times a little bit, and try to give you guys some good content this week. So I'm excited, and please watch, like, subscribe here at Aaron Wilson Sport at my YouTube channel, and encourage you guys to join me. Anybody that's maybe tuning in for the first time, give me a chance, and I guarantee that I will give you guys a lot of good content, especially if you're interested in the Texans in particular, specifically. So give me the in-depth coverage of the Texans, and then we are over 12,000 followers, 12,100 and change. So look to continue to make that climb to 13,000, hopefully 14,000, 15,000. I'm not putting a real ceiling on this. I just want it to continue to grow and to make this a vibrant channel for you guys, the Texans fans, and that's what it's for. It's for you guys to have content and something that you can watch and enjoy. And then, of course, I'm on Twitter at Aaron Wilson_NFL, Instagram Aaron Wilson 7128, and first and foremost, for you guys, for what you care about, videos here at this channel. So guys, please keep it locked all week. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it was a long way to get here, and I definitely put some miles on getting here, but to Atlanta, and then Roanoke, and then crossing the state line and getting here to West Virginia, home of the Greenbrier. So guys, keep it locked here all week, and it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks, and have a good night.